Welcome to the Untrapped Podcast, where we're motivated and inspired about success, small business, and personal development. And now, Keith Kalfas.
What's up? What's up? Good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, everybody? How are you doing? So this morning I want to talk about knowing your worth. And I want to go back to the first few years in my landscaping and window cleaning business. It was a living hell. I had debt collectors calling me. I had caused a car accident because I couldn't afford car insurance. A big insurance company sued me. They were threatening. They took my driver's license, basically, and I owed a whole bunch of money, and I was terrified. And I was dangled over the alligator pit, and my excuses no longer were valid. They didn't work anymore. And I had actually just met my wife, who I fell in love with. She was my fiance, and it was the most terrifying time of my life. It's what they call the dark night of the soul. And I had been avoiding it, and then it all hit at once. I found myself where I lived with some roommates because my life fell apart before that. My mother died of a heroin overdose, right? And a lot of friends of mine had basically passed away. So I'm living like in a basement with some roommates, and I had met my wife, and I'm like, I can never imagine myself getting married, but when I met this woman, the first time she kissed me, my body was like goosebumps. And I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, but she had like really high standards. And like she came over to like my bedroom I was renting. She's like, hell no. She's like, it was a mess. She's cleaning it up and going through my stuff, and I'm like, this woman's amazing, right? So I basically proposed to her after 4 months, and people thought we were crazy, and I knew it, and I wasn't even that type of guy. I mean, I thought people were crazy who did stuff like that, but we knew it. And as soon as I put the ring on her finger, she's like, well, we got to move in together. I was like, she's like, we're not going to be engaged and not live together. So we get an apartment, and then as soon as we get the apartment, she's like, we got to plan the wedding. So anyways.
If you are looking for the greatest software ever to run your business on, go to getjobber.com/Keith. You can create proposals, invoices, collect payments, and track your entire business directly on the Jobber smartphone app. If you want to get a totally free trial of Jobber right now, open your browser, type in getjobber.com/Keith, and after the trial, if you decide to sign up with Keith's link, you'll automatically get 20% off your first 6 months. So what are you waiting for? Go to getjobber.com/Keith.
I'm working a dead-end lawn care job at that time, and I grew up landscaping from the time that I was a kid. And I started mowing lawns with my dad, who had like a little lawn care company. He would give me like $5 a lawn, and I was making cash at that age, and I liked working outside. I had outdoors. And by the time I was like 17, 18, I'm like, Dad, let's start a business. He's like, I cannot go into business with you, because I was so gung-ho and so ambitious. My father thought he would bump heads with me, so he went totally separate, did his own thing. And I just worked a whole bunch of dead-end jobs, and I worked in the landscaping industry. I was from lawn care to landscaping to horticulture. I worked my way up different companies. I became a foreman, a supervisor. I've ran crews. We've done like all the way up to doing properties for like sports stars and celebrities. So I understood and I learned. And a man who changed my life was a Marine Corps sergeant who was my boss. Dude, this dude made me cry, but he also always respected me in a way that changed my life when I needed it the most. So I've never been in the service, but I have a ton of respect for anybody in the service. And my wife actually helps homeless veterans in crisis. So like, it's amazing what I've learned. So with that kind of a backstory, now I'm living in this one-bedroom apartment with my wife. I'm terrified. I got attorneys and debt collectors calling me. I had to beg these attorneys they were holding my driver's license at ransom. And so I had to pay them every month, and if I miss one payment, they're taking my driver's license for good, and I owed an entire balance for all the damages of this car accident that I caused. And I was so scared, I was like shaking. I dropped down on my face, and I had already done this, but I gave my life to Christ, and I got my face on the floor, and I used to dress like I thought I was like the man, and it was all my ego. I put all that aside, and I was sobbing on the floor with like snot coming out of my face saying, I'm not getting up from this. I didn't eat for like 2 days. I'm not getting up until I'm changed, and I have to figure this out. So when I stood up, I knew everything was hanging in the balance, and I started a landscaping business, but I didn't have any money, no money at all. I started with about $50. I went to my buddy Dave. he had a pickup truck. So I'm working during the day doing lawn care and landscaping for a company for now $10 an hour, like 28 years old. And Dave is like, well, he taught me how to start a landscaping business because I was going out in the evenings with him, doing jobs for $15 an hour cash so I can make money to pay these attorneys. And one day it's like freezing rain and we're finishing up this job. I did like a whole bunch of the work because I knew how to do everything, but he orchestrated the job. He was just more like a construction guy, but he was a hustler. He knew how to do this. So on the way back from the job site, I'm like soaked and I'm in muddy, I'm freezing, I'm depressed. And I'm like, bro, how did you even get this job? He's like, my name is Keith Kalfas. He calls me Felkus. He's like, you can do this, Felkus. And I'm like, how? He's like, you just create profiles on social media and you post on Craigslist and you can launch your own business from nothing. This is what you do. You put best deals in town. And then you just start posting ads. And I was like, wait a second, that's how you get jobs? So I went home and immediately, and I opened up the computer. I created multiple accounts on Craigslist back in the day, multiple emails, my wife's, and I'm now posting, I had 6 accounts and I was posting like 10 ads a day all over the place, creating social media accounts, and I started getting calls immediately. So now I'm working all day landscaping, would go home to our 1-bedroom apartment and just scarf down some food. I'm taking calls like at lunch break while landscaping for other people. And I'm booking these jobs. So it would be like sometimes 9 o'clock at night and the customer, I'd be like, I'll be there in 30 minutes. So I'm borrowing my wife's car to go do estimates. And people are like, it's getting dark. Can you come another day? I'm like, no, I'll be there in 30 minutes. So I'm showing up with a flashlight on people's properties, and they're kind of weirded out, but I'm smiling. Like I have something called positive expectancy. That means I'm very positive, and I expect that this is all going to work. It's like how can I say it? It's a very assumptive thing because your back's against the wall. You can't back out. And the customers started liking it. They appreciated the hustle. And so I'm now booking jobs, and my boss at work, he's calling me Side Job Keith, and he's getting kind of scared because he's like, he could feel I'm going to quit. He's like, Side Job Keith. One day we're doing this landscape job for like $6,000, and now I do 90% of all the work. And we're driving home in the truck, and he looks at me, and he's like, I don't know why this slipped out of his mouth, but I'm glad it did. It was kind of disrespectful. He goes, I just made $6,000. And I was like, you son of a bitch. And I was like, wait a second. It was something called the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. He describes the entrepreneurial seizure. That moment, I went all in my landscaping business, and I replaced the income from my job in 6 weeks. So I'm out doing side jobs at night. I wake up on a Saturday morning, and I had to be to work at my crappy landscape job, and this feeling came through me. It's these epiphanies that you get. I call them an epiphany bridge, and they only happen a few times in your life. If you're lucky, they'll happen like 10 times, let's say. Once every few years, you get this thing that comes through you, and you're like, and you have this like awakening. And it said, you need to quit your job immediately. I'm like, I've only started my landscape business 6 weeks ago. He's like, no, this is the morning that you quit. And it was so strong and so real. I picked up the phone, I called the boss, and I was like, I quit. He's like, what? You have to be here in 20 minutes. We have a bunch of jobs to do. I was like, I quit, and I want my check on Friday. And he's like, you can't. I said, I quit. I hung up. Called a client that I had booked for like Monday. This was like Saturday. I said, hey, I have an opening. I can be there this morning. They're like, oh, okay, when? I'm like, in an hour. I drove to the job site, and now I made the amount of money on that job profit that would take me like 4 days in my crappy landscape job. and the phone's ringing. I'm going out to my truck now because I dumped out change, borrowed money from my wife, and I got an old 1991 Dodge Dakota, and I called it the Blue Goose. 250,000 miles, covered in rust, crack in the windshield, and when I'm driving this thing, it's like put, 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 and I'm terrified that this thing's gonna break down, because if it breaks down, we're screwed. So I'm driving in this truck now to jobs, and I'm working. I knew as long as I was working and my hands were on the wheel of that truck, and I was taking phone calls and posting ads on Craigslist and marketing and advertising and listening to audiobooks like Seth Godin, Purple Cow, Duct Tape Marketing by John Jantz, Guerrilla Marketing by Jay Conrad Levinson, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, on and on, Wayne Dyer. I'm like going as high as I can because I was like broke and employee technician minded, learning how to run an actual business and be an entrepreneur, but I didn't have any where to apply that, and it was all hitting me at once. My wife is calling me at like 6, 7 p.m., now 8 p.m. She goes, can I cuss? Sorry. Sorry. When the fuck are you coming home? What are you doing? Are you cheating on me? Are you having an affair with me? On me? I'm blah, blah, blah. I said, with me. On me, are you like, and I'm like, no, calm down. She was going insane because I was never home. And I spoke to my wife in a tone that I had never spoke to her, because I'm a very gentle person. I love my wife and I respect her and her boundaries, but I was in such survival mode. I said, do you understand, if this fucking truck breaks down, we're screwed? Like and she was like, okay. So I come home, I eat, freezing cold dinner 4 or 5 nights a week. And I understood that if it's meant to be, it's up to me, and my back was against the wall. And so I'm now 7 days a week. I'm doing the math. Employee minded. I'm charging just enough to make ends meet. No workers' comp, no insurance, no taxes, no payroll, none of that. Just enough to make ends meet. And the customers loved it because I was a perfectionist. We did work for celebrities at the companies, and I'm talking like, I had this thing called the fingertip pick when we're finishing jobs like installs. I have my guys, they go around with buckets, and they will keep picking with their fingertips to make the property meticulously clean, sweeping the street. Everything's so precise that when we do the final walk around and knock on the door, I'm proud when I go to collect the final deposit check, because when the customer walks around, like, the guys are still working, everything's, and they're like, wow. Like, that's why I have so many positive 5-star reviews, because I'm obsessed with quality. But then the prices were so low, the word was getting around that, like, this guy is like, is this guy stupid? Like, so the prices were so low, and I was making no money at all, and now we're getting an eviction notice because I have to keep paying these attorneys. And the debt collectors are calling me. My self-esteem was in the toilet, to the point where you make these deals with God, like dark thoughts. Like, I would never commit suicide, but when the pain gets so bad, you start thinking like crazy negative stuff, and you're like, whoa, I can't even believe that I would consider that, because the pain is so bad. It feels like your soul's coming out of your body. It's a transitionary period. I call one of my best friends Coach Rob. He's an NLP certified neuro-linguistic mastery, personal mastery coach. The guy, like, he's one of my best friends. I said, why do I feel like I'm dying? He said, well, I would like to suggest that it's just ego death. It's a shedding of the old you, and you're being reborn and walking into this new you, and you're like being born again. So it's painful. So there's lines, levels, states, and stages of consciousness, and you can hit level 10 over here, but just be like a level 1 here. So to transition and start growing this new line of intelligence is like, it's this whole new thing, and you have to be not afraid to be a beginner. You're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna look stupid, it's very painful, but it's also extremely rewarding. So back to the story. I'm 100 hours a week, literally, making the payments to the attorneys, barely staying from being evicted. I'm driving to a job site one morning, and now it's just me and the Blue Goose truck. I was like, put, 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 put. And I'm scared, but it's running good. I'm on my way to a job by myself, a solopreneur. And this job was like $700. So today, you could just say it's like $2,000 or something. So going from a broke guy who had Like when I was around my clients and customers, for some reason I had the mindset, I was a grown man at that point, but I had the mindset of like I was like a kid because I was afraid when I spoke to them because we grew up so poor on food stamps and welfare. I've lived in 31 homes, went to 14 schools, homeless shelters for battered and abused women. We slept in my mom's car. Like I didn't even know that people paid people to do landscaping or window cleaning or insulation or any of that stuff. So when I'm standing in front of my customers, and now we're in a transactional jurisdiction of commerce and the sales and marketing, I had no worth. So I'm talking to the customers, and I went and I regressed back to like a kid, like a teenager, and they didn't respect me. So I'm driving that morning though, and it's like a $700 job, and there's the crack in the windshield, and my hands are on the steering wheel, and all of a sudden the sun came through. It was like 7:30 in the morning, and it was just me alone in the truck. And I had no job to be to, no boss breathing down my neck. I was no longer punching a clock.
Let me tell you something most service business owners never realize. You're spending money on Google Ads, Facebook, maybe SEO, maybe yard signs or flyers, but you have no idea which marketing is actually making your phone ring. That's where CallRail comes in. CallRail is call tracking software that shows you exactly which marketing source generated each phone call. So instead of guessing where your leads came from, you actually know. And when you know what's working, you can double down on it and grow your business faster. If you want to try it, go to keithkalfas.com/callrail. That's keithkalfas.com/CALLRAIL.
And the sun like went through the windshield, and there was a crack, and it like the beam of light went on me, and I felt like it was God's love and light shining on me, and my skin became warm where I was previously terrified, and this peace came over me. And tears started dripping down my face because I realized that I was free. I was fucking free. And I had earned my freedom. And I was now my own boss. And I cried because I looked back at the hundreds of men that I worked with that were good men in all those companies that never broke free, and they didn't have their back against the wall to take the risk and be forced into what I was forced into. And I was like, so can I like be like, oh yeah, I got my own business, but really I was being squeezed through the cracks and forced to change, right? So I cried because I was free, and I went to those jobs, and I worked my ass off, and I started growing my landscaping business and listening to literally hundreds of audiobooks on everything I could get my hands on, like Own Your Own Corporation by Robert Kiyosaki, Garrett Sutton, The Tax Advisors, Tom Wheelwright, like all types of stuff. At the end, I'll give you a list of amazing audiobooks you can download and listen to that are just like, it's like standing on the shoulders of giants. So this is what happens. I actually started my business in the middle of July of 2011. So because it was the middle of the summer, I was getting a whole bunch of clients. And even though I was learning how to do marketing and advertising, I thought I was like smart. I thought I was some type of rock star because I'm getting all these customers so fast. What happens now, we go in September, October, November, December, the phone stops ringing. No unemployment, no job. By that time I had the rent paid, I'm good, we're Gucci, man. Now it's December and January, it's freezing outside. The phone's not ringing, we have no work, and now I'm terrified, and we get a pink note on the door, and I still owed the attorneys for like years. And now I'm really, really scared. My buddy Eric Reno, I'll tell about him in a second. Have you ever been so terrified or so broke that you contemplated who could you call to ask them to borrow money? Like, So my friend Eric Reno, one of my best friends, we grew up together since the trail at Park. He's become a multi-deca millionaire. He owns a big company. They do roofing, siding, gutters, insulation. He's a great friend of mine. He spoke at my events and everything now. I couldn't find a job. I didn't want a job. And there was no landscaping to do. And I was freaking terrified. I took out my phone and I texted him like this long message. Bro, can I please borrow like $1,000? At that time, when you're that broke, $1,000 can get you by. Please, I'll pay you back, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, I promise you. And I hovered around and I hid in the bathroom because my like wife was like getting ready and doing her hair to go to work or something. She's a waitress. And I sit down on the toilet and I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, can I put my ego and pride aside? This is not me. I'm not this type of guy. I fight for my independence. And I'm talking like, I press send. Because Eric was already making lots of money. What was I thinking? So 5 minutes later, he messages me back. I took out my phone, I read it, and he's like, bro, I know exactly what you're going through. I'm not going to loan you a single penny. He goes, I remember when I lived in the one-bedroom apartment with my wife, and we were having our second baby, and I was roofing, freezing my ass off. He physically bled to grow his business. And you need to get out there and hustle, bro. You need to figure this shit out. So he like, I did it, you can do it. And the way he said that to me transpired into the highest level of brotherly love and tough love that I needed in that moment. It cut to the truth, like it stung and it hurt, but it cut to the truth like a knife. And when I felt that, I was like, so I have like, we have 6 days now to be evicted, and I still owed the attorneys, and I could not miss one single payment. I go to a CVS, and I get a small business opportunity magazine. I don't know if anybody knows about those. And in the magazine, I'm looking like all over, what are small businesses that I can start for under $100? Not like 100,000 or 50,000 or 1,000. And the only thing that I could find, there was like, you can go buy this machine where you can like make your own buttons and sell them, or you can get into multi-level marketing, or you can sell Monavie juice. I've tried all this stuff. And window cleaning came up. I literally called Metro PCS and I told them, please keep my phone on for like 1 more week. They're gonna shut off my phone. And I took $50 and I went into Home Depot and I bought a bucket, a scrubber, a squeegee, and some Dawn dish soap. And now I'm like, I'm gonna start a window cleaning business. It's freezing winter, it's like January. And I say, so what do I do? I didn't know that that's actually an entire huge industry. I go out to the storefront strip malls and plazas in the metropolis of Metro Detroit where I live. So there's grocery stores, cell phone stores, there's everything just like in the big cities. And I walk in and I'm like, does anybody clean your windows? And they're like, well, we already have a guy, so we don't need it. And it was like the lady at the front desk or like some guy who works there or something. And so I went out all day and I got rejected. I came home like really scared. I didn't sell a single job. And I'm talking like, I went out probably like 5 hours. But when you're doing sales, that could feel like 50 hours. So I started going online in forums and I started learning their scripts to this. I say, wait a second. I have to sell. I have to learn how to sell, like cold sell. I go out again all day. I sell nothing. Like I went to like the Chinese nail salon and the Chinese food store, the restaurants. I went to gas stations. I went to hair salons, anything that I could go to. Everybody rejected me. I come home with my pockets empty, and now we have like 4 days to be evicted. So then I found a script, and so now I knew that thing came through me again that was like, you have to do this, or you literally are gonna get evicted, and you're gonna end up possibly losing your future wife. You're like a loser. But I'm not a loser, bro. I went out there, I started the Blue Goose truck. I had water and I had a windshield washer solvent so it wouldn't freeze on the windows because I was practicing. And I walked into these businesses and I said, where's the owner? Who's in charge? Like, I want the person who can, like, they're like, well, who are you? I said, and I would put my squeegee and scrubbers on me, like right there. And I was so embarrassed. I'm like, what am I, a window cleaning guy? Oh, look, it's the window cleaning guy. But I was like, Hi, my name's Keith. I own a local window cleaning business and we're expanding in this area. Do you currently have anybody that cleans your windows? So I just started the window cleaning business and we are expanding in this area. So they were like, we already have a guy. I said, why are your windows are filthy dirty? Where's your guy at? They were like, whoa, he hasn't showed up in a few months. Great. Reliable window cleaners are hard to come by. I'll be here every 2 weeks, or I'm here right now. I'll do them right now. They were like, nah, we don't need it. I said, this is a place of business. It's a restaurant. You have people coming in and out and eating, and the windows they're filthy. There's like salt all over them because of the snow in Michigan in the winter. They're dirty. The frames are all dirty. And I'm like, I'll clean them right now for $40. They're like, no, we don't want it. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. I'll clean your windows for $5. And now these guys, like the cool like Arabic guys at the cell phone stores, he's like, you do it for $5? All right, bet. So his name was Z. He owned a T-Mobile store, and I got in there, and I cleaned them all for $5, and then I was like, I'll see you in 2 weeks. He's like, whoa. I was like, what? I could come every 2 weeks. So basically, I came home that day, and I made like $64 in cash. I went out the next day. Now I got 3 days to be evicted, and now I went insane. I felt a little bit of success, and I went everywhere. I got a business card from every single person. I created a calling list. I marked it 1, they're hot, 2, they're medium, 3, they're cold. And in between in my truck, while I was eating a sandwich, or like I'm calling them all back. I was in there earlier, blah, blah, blah. And when I locked down a store, I'd be like, hey, this plaza, I'd be like, we actually do the window cleanings. We do the T-Mobile store, and we do this. And like, I'm locking down this whole city. This is mine. And so I went in, and through this hustle and this sense of urgency, I sold 42 recurring accounts in 42 hours. I wasn't able to clean them, in 48 hours. I wasn't able to clean them in 48 hours, but I sold and booked 42 recurring accounts in that 48-hour period. And I built a whole window cleaning business in the middle of the freezing winter with nothing. And barely paid the attorneys, paid the rent, no eviction notice, paid the cell phone bill, put groceries, and like boom, 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 boom. Now I'm in the window cleaning business, and people would walk by and they would joke and they'd be like, hey, I'm cleaning like a restaurant or something. I'd be like, hey, you want to come do my house after? Absolutely, here's my business card. What's your information? And they were like, sometimes they would say yes. Well, it's in the middle of the winter, so spring came, my landscaping business takes off again, and now I'm in the window cleaning business. So I'm doing landscaping and window cleaning, and it was way too cheap. The prices were so frickin' low that I still, no insurance, no taxes, no employees, no payroll, no workers' comp. And I'm like, so the spring breaks, and my wife, she has so much support. She came out and she would help me clean windows. And I started posting Craigslist ads in the rich side of town. It's called Bloomfield. It's where all the millionaires are, big medical, doctors, lawyers, plastic surgeons, sports stars. And they said that's where the money's at, in these big houses. So I locked down this one client, radically undercharged him, and I bring my wife with me, and she's helping me squeegee the windows. By this time, I'm growing some confidence in my business. And I'm still listening to all the stuff about marketing and advertising, and at night, I'm literally doing my own SEO and writing blog articles and building my website and creating my own Google My Business and asking every customer for a positive 5-star review, and I'm linking, doing backlinks and search engine optimization. I'm doing everything I possibly can, and it's working. My wife comes with me. We're cleaning the windows at this like huge house, and this cool guy, he's like, with this cigar. For some reason, he told his billionaire buddy, hey, this Kalfas guy who's cleaning my windows, he's got some cute chicks working for him or something like that. So I was like, I didn't know this till like years later, but I get a call from, I get a text message from this super, super rich guy named, and he's like, hey, I want you to come clean my windows. And I bet, I'll be right there. I leave the job site I'm at. It's spring now. Yeah, it's like late spring. And I pull up to this huge old, it's a mansion, but it's like abandoned. But it's not abandoned. There's just weeds growing all over the place. The property, it looks like it just needs a ton of work. I'm looking at $25,000 in work, I guess I could estimate. He wants his windows cleaned. I walk around and I give him this quote for $200 to clean what would be easily a $1,600 job. I didn't know what to charge. So I get this guy on the phone. I didn't meet him in person, but he's like, I'm like, I'll do it for $200. So this is where I want to talk about knowing your worth. He goes, do it. He's like this Greek guy, bro. I say, okay. So we start cleaning the windows and we go inside of the house and I put shoe cover booties on my feet. And he had these rugs that were like $80,000 per rug. And I just felt this high sense of like, don't let a squeegee scratch the wall. Don't do anything. I touch in my foot, just, you know when the fibers cross the rugs, people that have OCD? Like this was OCD to the max. I stopped, like I was almost like in a clean room. And I backed up because my foot had touched the fibers on the rugs with my shoe cover booties. And I bent down and I uncrossed the two fibers, because I knew that's how meticulous this guy's house was. So we clean all the windows, and then I look, I'm like, bro, we could do a lot of work here. You need your landscaping, property maintenance, you know, all these things. He goes, how much? I'm like, well, I have to give you a quote. He's like, give me a quote quickly as possible. I want it all done. I find out he just bought this $1 million mansion or whatever, and this is now gonna be his weekend house. And so we start doing all this work, and anything I brought to his attention, I had to be really careful, because he would just say, do it. Give me a price, do it, do it. And so if I would be like, hey, that tree needs to be trimmed. This guy was a genius. He was also, he was like a plastic surgeon. He owned a bunch of real estate. He would look at all the trees on his huge property, going down the rolling hill and everything in the whole forest. He goes, how much to do everything? And I'm like, my biggest job at that point was like $1,000, and we're looking at thousands and thousands of dollars. So he figured out very quickly how to take advantage of me, because he knew, because I acted like a kid in his presence, because he was so rich and such a great negotiator, and it was a fucking game to him, bro. He'd pull out a stack. He always had like $20,000 on him, and his garage opens up. He's got a Ferrari, he's got a Bentley, he's got some Fisker car, he's got all these exotic, all this crazy stuff. And one day, he's like, you want to smoke a cigar with me? I'm like, I don't smoke, bro. Come on, have a cigar. I'm like, okay. He takes out this case with these Cuban cigars, and we sit down. I'm like, oh shit, I'm smoking a cigar with my customer. And I'm like puffing on it. I'm like, pff. And he's like, what's the name of that plant? I'm like, that's a rhododendron. He's like, what's that? I'm like, well, that's forsythia. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, oh, those are ginkgo trees. What's that? I'm like, he's asking me all these questions about all these different plants, and I'm learning, because I get the Michigan Gardener's Guide, and I'm reading, and I learn from some horticultures, and I have to know my stuff right. He's like, what's that? I'm like, that's Pachysandra. So he looks, I look at him, he's got this watch on. I'm like, dude, that's a really nice watch. He takes it off and hands it to me. It's really heavy. He goes, how much do you think this watch cost? I'm like, $6,000. More. 10. More. 35,000. Up. I go, how much is it, bro? He goes, $186,000. I go, who would spend that much on a watch? Me. So I'm like, how long did it take you to decide? Were you like obsessed with this watch? How long did it take you to decide this? He goes, about 20 minutes. I'm like, why would you buy a watch for that expensive? He goes, this watch is exclusive. You cannot get this watch. So, and he's like, I bought this other watch for $500,000. And he's like, so I'm like putting this guy on a pedestal, and he's like ripping me off, like hustling me. And I'm going around having pep talks with myself, because every time I gave this guy an invoice, I didn't have line items or anything on there. Like, his whole property would be perfect. We're doing the landscaping, we're doing the window cleaning, we're making everything beautiful, we're putting down like 20 yards of mulch. Now I'm hiring employees and paying them cash. I mean, we're making this shit perfect. And at the end, like, he'll pull up in his brand new BMW or the latest whatever, and he'll come out of his property, because he's so like, and I love this guy. He taught me so much, man. He would come out and the whole property would be perfect, huge property. and he would walk all the way over and be like to the street where the apron of the curb is by the mailbox, in the street now, about a foot, there'd be a little crack in the sidewalk, and he'd pick up a little tiny weed, and he'd be like, what is this? And now my confidence just went. I was like, I would grab 1 or 2 little tiny weeds and be like, nothing. So the bill would be like $2,000 for everything that we just did. And he would pull out his stack of 20 grand, and he would take $1,500 off, and he'd be like, take it and go. And I'd be like, it's only $1,500. And he'd be like, well, what did you really even do? I didn't have line items, I didn't have contracts, I didn't have anything in place, I didn't establish any authority, I was in survival mode. So this is really about knowing your worth, and I didn't know it at that time. I took the money, the lower price all the time, and I go home that evening. My wife is making spaghetti dinner. So by this time, I had learned about hours of operation. I stopped working till dark every day because it was going to ruin my marriage. I had employees that were quitting because it'd be like 7:30 p.m. and like, dude, I'm exhausted. When am I going to go home? And I'd be like, dude, what do you mean? We have to finish this job. We're not going home until this job is finished. They freaked out. They would quit. So I started hiring employees that would come after, and they would work till dark with me. So I would have like part-time guys. And I had this one buddy who, he became a millionaire. He got into like the restaurant business when he didn't belong. He trusted partners who ripped him off, and he was actually on Kitchen Nightmares. And they were like, kind of like exposing his business and trying to help him fix it. This guy went from being a millionaire and owning a construction company, a restaurant, and a bunch of real estate to now losing everything and sleeping in downtown Detroit in the back of his Jeep, like homeless, $1.4 million in debt, being audited by the IRS. I became friends with this guy through a different story, and he ended up coming and working for me for $15 cash per hour. I'm like, this guy's working for me now. But he became my business mentor, and he was teaching me all the painful lessons of what he went through. Like one day we're doing this job, and we're like sawing granite with like a saw and like installing all this stuff on this rich guy's property. And he stops, he goes, how much did you charge for this job, bro? I was like,
all right, real quick. I want to tell you about something that honestly blew my mind. If you run a landscaping business, pressure washing, window cleaning, or really any home service business, you already know how important your website is. But most guys either have a terrible website or they paid some designer thousands of dollars and it still doesn't bring them any leads. That's why I partnered with a company called Rebolt. Rebolt uses AI to actually build and optimize your website so it ranks on Google and helps you show up when customers search in your area. We're talking about professional website design built for local SEO and optimized to help you show up in the Google 3-pack. This is not one of those junk AI website builders. These guys are legit. If you want to check it out, go to keithkalfas.com/rebolt. That's keithkalfas.com/rebolt. REBOLT. Go see what they built. It's seriously impressive.
$1,200. He stops the saw and he goes, this is like $7,000 at least. He's like, what do you mean $1,200? And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean, bro? He's like, are you even paying taxes? I was like, no. He's like, dude, if you don't start paying taxes, the IRS will take everything you have and the fees will be like, they audited me. Like, you have to put 30% aside for taxes. I'm like, how much? He's like, 30% of gross revenue. Like at that time. So he's like, if you don't do, you have to do this. So I was so scared. This guy put the fear of God inside of me, bro. He scared me almost to the point where it like hurt me because everything was like, no, you can't do this. But he scared me in a good way. So I instantly opened up another bank account for taxes. I started raising the prices on all the customers immediately. And I learned that all of my other customers, like only a few of them dropped off because my prices were so low that they were ridiculous. So now I'm saving for taxes and I'm learning about business and growing my confidence. and joining like the contractor sales academy and making friends with other entrepreneurs and business owners who knew their worth and knew how to stand their ground and draw their line in the sand with customers and stand up to their customers and know their price. Like, hey, this is my value. This is my line in the sand. My business was emotionally attached into my nervous system, breath by breath. So I come back to this customer and it's like, we did everything on his property again. The invoice is $2,500. And he takes out 20 grand. And this time I had line items. My shit was organized. And he gives me $1,500. And he's like, take it and go. I say, no way, bro. We did this, we did this, we did this, we did this, we did this. He's like, no, you're good. I said, dude, he could feel in my energy that I was ready to walk. And I might have been like a peon to him at the time or nothing, but he knew that this time I had literally now transformed and I was no longer a kid. I was standing in front of him as a man and a man of business, and I knew my worth. And he could feel that. And this dude was like, all right, bet. He paid me the full amount this time. I was like, bet. And I went home in my truck, right? And I was like the boss, because I had gone home in my truck crying with my holding my steering wheel. And I went home and ate spaghetti dinner with my wife, and I was the rich man that night. So I'm starting to grow my business, and then all of a sudden we have to get out of this crappy one-bedroom apartment and upgrade to a condo because we're busting at the seams. Her and I are arguing. And I had this other seizure. I went and ripped all the pictures off the walls. She's like, you're crazy, you need to be on medication. And I was like, because I was flipping out because I wanted more, but it wasn't happening for me because the problem was not anything outside. It wasn't anything that was external. It was all tied back to my worthiness and my lack thereof because of generational curses or traumas or anything that went down to the coupon clippers when you're a kid and your parents freaking out about money. So we start looking at these condos and all these different apartments, and the rent is literally double everything, the utilities, everything more. I'm like, I literally can't afford this. There's no way. But we found this place that was perfect. And all the math, it checked all the boxes, and I didn't know if we could afford it. So we go back to our crappy one-bedroom apartment now. This is so sad. This was year 4 or 5 in the landscaping business. And we park in front of the one-bedroom apartment, and I look and I stop and I pause and I look at my wife and I said, I'm so sorry. We have to stay in our crappy one-bedroom apartment another year. I literally, we cannot afford this. And I was still paying off the attorneys and debt collectors. And my wife looked at me and she reached and she grabbed my hand and she held my hand and she squeezed my hand because I was always terrified that her and her whole family and all my in-laws, that their love for me depended on how she felt about me moment by moment. So if any moment my wife decided she didn't like me or didn't love me, now the whole family hates me or something. It was it was fear. I didn't feel truly loved and supported. But in this moment, it was all in my head. She grabbed my hand and she squeezed it and she said, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I said, no. I'm clamping down. She said, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm looking at her. I'm like, we can't. She goes, let's do it. And if we fail, we'll fail together. And when she said that, I borrowed my wife's belief in that moment. And I knew that everything was going to be okay. And this surge of belief came through me. And I was like, let's do it. She's like, really? We're gonna get this condo and get the fuck out of this one-bedroom apartment. The apartment was so shitty. We had neighbors that were drug addicts that stole my work shoes. They were new Timberland work boots twice. My wife's going downstairs to doing coin laundry and she's terrified because it's a crazy area. And so next thing you know, there's the U-Haul truck in the morning. I'm pulling up, we're packing, we're moving, and we move into this nice condo and everything and upgraded the space. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and we're in this brand new place. And all of a sudden, because we were in a new environment and my identity and my worth upgraded, I felt like I was actually getting something for my hard work. Like, I fucking deserve this, bro. I know my worth. I transformed and instantly started making more money and started closing bigger ticket jobs. The little tiny $700, $800, $500 started turning into $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, $8,000. I'm learning, right? And now I'm starting to crush it. I'm hiring employees. Because my back's against the wall, I paid off the attorneys and debt collectors, satisfaction of judgment, boom, 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 boom. Credit score went from 520 all the way up to like 600, 700. Then it went up to like, it's like an 825 or something, it doesn't matter. But because my worth went up, but I was still so attached to the business, working now about 80 hours a week. When you have a big project going on, you can't focus at night at the dinner table, you can't do any of this. I come home in 2016, and my wife's very upset, and she's now saying she wants to divorce me. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm doing this for us. She's like, you're never fucking home, you don't spend any time with me, you're not present with me, boom, boom, boom. And she had been talking to her girlfriends and her family members about all this, and she seriously wants to move back to her mom's, and she's like about to pack all her shit, and she was serious. Now at this point, what did I do? I was like, instead of like being humble or asking questions, I became upset and pissed off, and I started saying, what the fuck? I became really, really pissed off and upset, feeling like this isn't fair, this is bullshit. And so what did I do? I said, fuck that. I'm leaving. So I packed all of my shit, well, what I could fit in the back of my truck, my landscaping work truck. It's the middle of July now, and I'm out in my truck driving with the sun beating, and I'm just sitting in traffic with my shit packed. All the rest, everything, my wife and my dogs and cats are like at my home. And I'm like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm leaving because this is bullshit. All of a sudden, my friend Joshua Latimer calls me. We became friends at this point. He's built several multi-million-dollar businesses. This guy has 5 kids. He's married to his high school sweetheart. He has business systems, family systems. He's a keynote speaker. He's inspired people all over the world. And this guy's my friend. He goes, what's up, sucker? I'm like, my shit's packed and I'm sitting in the traffic because my wife wants to divorce me. He goes, now he has a pattern interrupt. He goes, what? And I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, I'm working like 90 hours a week, bro. He's like, listen, she doesn't want that. All she wants is you, brother, you. I'm like, dude, but I need money to pay off all these debts and do all these things and to make it work. And he's like, she just wants you. I'm like, I don't have any time for that. I have to be working 24/7, 365 to make it work. I was like this warrior, bro. I'm fucking talking bags under my eyes, like war paint every morning. I'm going to work. I'm like, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, bro. And now I know my fucking worth. I'm the soldier. I'm the warrior. I'm doing this. I'm closing jobs. I'm building my clientele. I'm fucking crushing it. But I'm ignoring my wife. And I didn't know how to be present with her at the dinner. I'm like on my phone. He goes, have you ever heard of date night? I go, date night? What is that? He goes, bro, once a week, his family systems, you set a time in the evening. It could be 5, 6, 7 hours. But once a week, you structure and schedule, block and tackle, date night. Pick a night of the week, and that's the night every single week you do date night with your wife. I've been doing it with my wife forever. And he also has, like, for his kids, every night of the week, he spends way more time than that. They're like, it's amazing. They're great parents. But they have these family systems, like he has Maverick Monday and Tucker Tuesday, so a different day of the week. He spends a minimum of at least 100% undivided attention, no cell phones, no nothing, no devices, with his kids. And what do you want to do? You want to go out to ice cream, you want to do this, anything in this family system. So he says, like, if one of the kids is like, doesn't even get upset if dad's spending too much time with the other kid because they know Wednesday's their night. And these systems are a promise. And sometimes if you're really busy or traveling, it can be broken, but because it's a system, you just get right back to the system. It's like Atomic Habits by James Clear. So you should read that book. So I'm like, date night. It was Tuesday, and I'm out sitting in the sunshine. He's like, dude, you need to start a date night with your wife. Everything's going to be okay. So I turn around and I go back to our condo and I park. All my stuff's packed. And I walk in the front door, it's like 18 minutes later, and my wife goes, "What the hell are you doing here?" And I look and I just open the door and I step my foot in and I go, "I want to do date night." She fucking looks at me and she goes, "Date night? Date night?" I'm like, "Date night. Starting when? Now." She's like, "Okay." My whole energy field had changed, right? I was no longer being a victim. So next thing you know, let's go out to eat. We get in the car, and my phone's ringing, clients, customers, schedule. I gotta notify my everything that's going on, text the guys, the job site for the morning. None of that's getting done, and I'm in the truck, and my phone is like bzz, 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 and I'm with my wife, the sun's beating, and I started having a panic attack. I'm like, I'm gonna jump out of the car right now, I can't do this. And now my energy field disrupted my wife, and it was actually me causing it, and now she is getting upset, and now we're arguing on our first date night. Next week comes by, we're arguing on date night. 3 weeks in a row, we're arguing and fighting at date night. I literally got up and walked out of a restaurant like, "She's crazy, bro. She's crazy," because she flipped out on me, because there was so much tension. There was this depolarization in masculine feminine consciousness where my wife was developing a masculinized shell, and I was, on the outside of me, was being feminine and scared and not being the man that my wife needs me to be. At my core, where she knows I'm not going anywhere. I'm here with her now and always until forever infinitum. Whenever I would get scared, I would just buckle. So anyways, I called Joshua Latimer. I'm like, "Dude, date night isn't working. We're getting arguments and all this stuff." He goes, "No, bro, you're doing it all wrong." I go, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Date night is the ultimate excuse to," he goes, "you don't ignore your family, but you can work your tail off all week. Of course you're gonna be at the dinner table and all that stuff, but date night's the ultimate excuse to put your middle finger up to your business and to all of it. And you put all that aside, and now you can relax, you can have fun, play games, make love, watch movies, spend 100% time with your spouse on date night, and it's the ultimate excuse to say screw it." And so I tried that with my wife, and when date night came, boom, let go of everything. I was like, "Dude, we deserve this. We're out to dinner, we're having a great time, we're laughing, we're bonding." It was just incredible. And so now it became a habit. So if now it was too late on Tuesday night date night, my it's starting to get 6 p.m., "It's date night, what are you doing?" I'm like, "1 second, I gotta finish this." And then boom, date night. And then if it's date night and she's busy, I'm like, "It's date night, what do you So now it's a habit. We've had 444, Tuesday will be 445 consecutive date nights since 2016. And it's a habit, it's a family system in the business. So it fixed my marriage. So 2016 goes by, I need to make more money, you need to upgrade the lifestyle and make more money. I was always terrified of business systems. I didn't know what it meant or how to do it because I was running from survival mode. And then I want to share this with you. We started putting systems into the business, and I started finding mentors and learning that people had already figured all this stuff out and they had already walked through the minefield, and all I had to do was put my ego and pride down and actually start listening to them. And I had to be broken until the point where I would call up my friends who were already successful in business and be like, "Bro, what are you doing? I need your help. I'm sick and tired of everything that I think that I know because it's not fucking working. Just tell me what you're doing, bro. I'm here, I'm listening." When the student's ready, the teacher will appear, right? And so I started learning these things if you don't have an admin person or an office person yet, I don't know where you're at, but Monday is administration day. We payroll, taxes, deal with the insurance companies, anything that needs to be done, admin in the business. So anything that's going on in the middle of the week that is crazy and you feel like you have to do it right now, some things you do have to do now. If you read David Allen, I think getting things done, if you can do it in 2 minutes, just do it immediately. If not, so I put it all and funnel it into Monday admin, and now I can relax in that part of the week because all that stuff gets done Mondays. And now you put that hat on, the context switching of that hat on Mondays, and you get it all done Monday. Tuesday, working out in the field, running the business. Tuesday night is Date night. Wednesday, running the business, I have a podcast. We just got like 850,000 downloads. I don't have to worry because the podcast is on Wednesday night. And so it hits automaticity. Thursday is where I get coached by other people and we have Zoom calls. We do our weekly pulse meeting with my team. It's like EOS Method by Gino Wickman, Traction, Get a Grip, Rocket Fuel. If you listen to these books, they'll like change your freaking life. And then Friday, I do Friday finances. So now I'm starting to get a little bit of success and finally making some money and paying off debt, but my QuickBooks and my accounting, it was a freaking mess. And I thought I was a smart guy. Every time I tried to learn how to reconcile my books, I'm tired from running a business, I can't do it. And I'm embarrassed because I'm giving people business advice on YouTube, how to start and grow your landscaping business or your window cleaning business. And I'm like, my own finances look like a tornado has hit it. So I broke down, I was humbled, and I found this guy named Dan Plata, the home service CFO, and I paid thousands of dollars. I hired a bookkeeper. We went back 2 years with all the books and got everything methodically and meticulously organized to every penny in, every penny out. Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. If you read that book, it'll teach you to open up mini multiple accounts. So we got 2 businesses. The money comes into the business checking and savings, and then we have payroll accounts for to get dispersed for payroll, and then money comes over every single week on Friday finances and goes into the personal checking, joint checking with my wife. She has access to everything. And then, because when I first got married, I had this, it was the same buddy who went broke. He was like telling me, he's like, don't tell your wife how much money you make because she won't understand unless she's fully in the business. And she'll be like, we're making this much? And I was like, so I was so scared. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I was like hiding money and cash and gold and silver and stuff, terrified in the beginning that for some reason my wife would freak out and want to divorce me and I would just lose everything. And so it wasn't the 99.9% of me that was 100% honest and transparent, completely in love with her. It was that 0.1% that psychologically was scared that had my foot out the back door. So even though I was just scared because of my fear of loss and unlove and my fear of abandonment, my bullshit that I was projecting into the relationship, she was looking at me and loving me, but it was that 0.1% that was driving her fucking crazy. And she, like, my wife is like, she can be like,
I created a group called the Untrapped Alliance where we go live every other Wednesday night in a controlled environment. I'm sick of scrolling on social media. I'm sure you are too. Let's get focused on our businesses. We already started the group, so if you join at keithkalfas.com/alliance, you can get access to the replays. And the bonus is we're gonna have special guest experts who run multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. They're gonna come on and teach us how to do sales, marketing, persuasion, close higher ticket jobs. These are people who got their shit together. And I'm really excited to have them on. Go to keithkalfas.com/alliance. I'll see you on the Wednesday night call. Let's go.
what the fuck is this? So I already know. So I've learned that, like, I have very wise men that I'm very blessed that I counsel with, that I could tell anything to. What have we learned here, Brother Keith? When anything pops up, you tell your wife immediately, and then everything will be okay. So like when stupid stuff pops up or anything, I just tell my wife immediately. And when I tell her, she goes, I don't care, let's go. Like, it's fine. So it's like, it's amazing the dynamics of transparency. So back to what I was saying. How much time do I have here? Okay, cool, perfect. Oh yeah, Thursday night, I get coached. Fridays, Friday finances. I have this weird thing that I do when I do Friday finances. I talk to the bookkeeper, we get the books reconciled. If there's any transactions he doesn't know where they came from, we use the Voxer app, so I can just be like, oh, this is a business expense, this is here, this is that. And then we get a profit and loss statement every single month, balance sheets, give it to the accountant, everything's organized. But I used to be so scared with the money thing that I would like move money around, and every time I would move money or pay a bill, it felt like a dagger in my nervous system releasing cortisol from all the trauma and stress of being broke. If my wife or somebody or a dog would bark, I'd be like, And I had to force myself through this. So after doing Friday finance for like 300 Fridays, the test is, can I do Friday finances from beginning to the end with my nervous system being so calm that if you hooked me up to like an electroencephalograph, there wouldn't even be the smallest spike. So now I could just move around thousands of dollars and just go like this and put everything into the right accounts and just like, and I'm like, I asked my wife, I'm like, you have to see this. Look how fast I'm doing this. She's like, I don't care. I already know. It's like, we're setting up a estate planning and a living trust and getting everything all set up so that if like I unfortunately like die or something, everything just gets transferred to my wife, and I put the businesses in partly in her name, so everything is like fine. But that was one huge thing to overcome, and get around as many successful people as you possibly can, because the law of proximity is when you get around them like iron filings to a magnet, it actually changes your resonance in your nervous system. If you hang around negative people, toxic people, there are people in your family, we all have them, that are extremely toxic. They're like psychological and emotional and energy vampires. You might be having a great day. You might be walking into crush it or do a sales meeting. They'll call you with some crazy bull crap and just destroy your energy field and pull you with guilt. Like, there's a book called The Emotion Code that can help you with all of that stuff. I've taken quantum coaching and I've learned how to like set kind of like these boundaries up with people. And I won't go too much on the toxic stuff, but spend less time with those people no matter how much it hurts, and install boundaries with love. Not being a victim and not with shame or embarrassment or guilt. Do it from a place of power. I love you too much to simply let you treat me like this right now. When you're ready to have an adult conversation, I'm open to talk because I love you. You want to hang up on me? I'll show up at your front door and we'll go out to eat. But I'm not gonna tolerate this anymore. Like, it's a higher standard. If there's a generational curse in your family, you break that shit, the buck stops. Obviously the buck stops with me. So my hallucination is the buck stops with you, because all this goes back to growing your business. If you sit down and you interview people that run million and multi-million dollar businesses long enough, like a husband and wife, they'll break down crying because they're going through hell. Once they get the family stuff solved in these family systems and they get that solved, boom, the business starts to take care of itself. So you'll be like, what's this guy talking about? It's this business and marketing stuff, but it's really this stuff. Saturday errands. Here's another system. Every Saturday I wake up, and when you have these systems in place, the people around you, your team, your employees, your partners, your family, they know that you have these rigid systems, and then they can relax into that boundary because they know there's a structure, and now they look forward to it. So if they know that every single Saturday you're doing this thing, they just relax and they let you do it because they know that you're consistent. It's like a pulse. So on Saturdays is like do all the errands that need to be done. And then here's the thing that I learned amazing. Anything you do business-wise on Sunday goes to hell on Monday. It doesn't have anything to do with being a Christian or anything. It's just like there's a part of you that needs later. Take care.
Sorry to interrupt.
Very nice to meet you. Later.
Take care, everyone. Sorry to interrupt.
So I was part of this Accelerate High Growth business training, and it changed my life because the main theme of all these entrepreneurs that showed up to make more money in the world of like commerce, it's only like, if you read the book Robin Sharma's The Wealth Money Can't Buy, there's 8 forms of wealth and only one of them is money. So people want to make more money, but this event was about deep levels of rejuvenation and relaxation. If you take your calendar of your year and you break it up into quarters and months, and you plan your family vacations in advance, you do 90-day sprints, and then you say, all right, we're booking this Airbnb or this vacation, we're doing this, then I know like my wife can relax because she looks forward to this vacation. Like grind, hustle, boom, real vacation. So with this, deep levels of rejuvenation and relaxation is, I'm not talking like just like my wife likes to go get manicures with her mom and her sister, and she gets her hair done, which is phenomenal. I love it when she does that because she comes back happy, like she's taking care of herself. I'm like, So here's what I mean. Pick a day of the week, and I'm talking spend the entire day or multiple days. If you don't go on a vacation, do a staycation and take care of yourself until your nervous system, like, has anybody ever gone on a vacation and for like the first 3, 4, 5 days or whatever, you're still tense? And then like the last day, your feet are in the sand, and there's just something that happens in your nervous system where you go, it's like the amygdala and the sympathetic nervous system actually relaxes and lets go, and your chakras tune, and you become aligned, and everything just lets go, and you're like, whoa. Some people are so stressed out that they go on vacation and they become sick. Like they actually get like flu-like symptoms because their body doesn't have. So there's 4 main things if you're super stressed out and you're running, like your hair is on fire in the busy season. Make sure you get adequate sleep. If you do sleep study, science, something as small as the light from a smoke detector can trigger things in the rods and cones that make these awake chemicals happen. So you can buy a sleep mask for $5. I won't get into the sleep stuff too much, but proper hydration, balanced meals, sleep, and exercise. If you're run down to the point where you're so stressed out that your sympathetic nervous system has you in fight or flight mode and you can't focus on anything, it's tunnel vision, make sure you get proper sleep, hydrate, healthy meals, like no sugary crap or fast food, because if you feel like shit and you go literally like you're in panic mode and you eat like a Big Mac and quarter pounder with fries and a big Coke, it's going to cause an insulin spike and a carbo crash, and you're going to feel worse, and it's going to lower your energy food. So your energy field. And then the exercise. So this starts with your physiology. If you are in a place where you're so burned out from your business and you're in this like trap, if you actually get up and I don't know, if you yoga, go running, exercise, do cardio, and go work out, go outside, go out in nature, because like literally physical trees, nature, there's the Schumann cavity resonance, and when you feel, there's frequencies in nature that vibrate with your body and raise your energy field. So if you're thinking negative thoughts or you're stuck or you're trapped and you're being in a victim state about your business or why it isn't working, there's different parts of you. There's, I feel like I'm info dumping on you. Is this making sense? Yeah? Okay, there's a part of you that's the sovereign king or queen that's up here, but there's these other parts of you. I can only speak from the masculine perspective, so try to translate it to feminine if you can. So you have the warrior, you have the magician, and then you have the lover, these different parts of you. If you keep being the warrior with your family and your business because you have to, and you're the person who takes care of everybody all the time, no matter what, and you're not allowing yourself for some guilt reason to take care of yourself and rejuvenate yourself, it will deplete you so much to the point where you don't know why your whole life looks perfect from the outside, but you're fucking dying inside. Like, that's not fair, and why can't you give that gift back to yourself? So there's something going on there, and you can, perfect. You can break that and say, wow, I'm using the warrior part of myself to keep banging away, like I was talking about earlier, at something, and it's not working. The harder I try, it's like the law of diminishing returns, because that's not a job for the warrior. That might be a job for, that's the magician, for the lover. So you can just relax and operate from your heart, and you can make a huge impact, employees, your team, clients, your family, your spouse, and speak from your heart from a place of hyper vulnerability and love. And like quantum leap, anything that didn't work over here with the warrior. Now, sometimes in your business, you might be using the warrior to pile drive through shit, and you don't know why it's not working. In a different season, it worked with very little effort, but we're in a different season now. And the same thing that worked here won't work. It might be a job for the magician. So the magician is like, it's that part of you. I want you to think about, what is your superpower? What is the thing that is your zone of genius that you are so good at that other people are like, how do you do that? And you're like, it's something that it comes easy to you. It's natural. For me, it's marketing, and it's communicating online. And Here we go. I was doing a brand deal sponsorship because we work with like 20 different brands. And I was so busy, I had like 24 hours to turn in this entire marketing content piece that required me to stand and speak and create an ad and write a script and promote this company that I actually believe in and that I use. And I could not get it done, and I was going into anxiety, and I couldn't get it done. And I was like, what is going on here? I was like, wait a second. Let me consult with my sovereign king up here. It's that higher superconscious form of you, and say, who is this a job for right now? Oh, that's a job for the magician. I'm like, what am I doing? So I literally go to the magician, that part of me, where it's fun and easy. Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Workweek, my favorite thing that he said, I think about this all the time, if you feel overwhelmed in your business with anything, ask yourself a question. What would this look like if it were easy? So I was like, the magician is amazing at this. I literally wrote the script, took out the camera, and everything happened. It was almost like this, it came like a symphony, and I started smiling and having fun, and I crushed this whole thing. I got it done. I made a bunch of money, and it was fun. I sent them over the advertisement that they wanted for the brand deal sponsorship, and they were like, this is great. And now they're running it on ads all over the internet. They're getting paid, I'm getting paid, and it's like helping people and stuff. And I was like, that's amazing. The sovereign king or queen, the warrior, the magician, and then the lover. So think of those different parts of yourself, and you can access them whenever you feel resistance or being stuck. Whatever you resist persists. So almost done here. A couple things. I want to give you some resources. Last night I was talking to someone in the group here, and I was actually picking up on a theme. And so in like January, February, sometimes it'll get slow. This is just seasonality of the business, and you learn these seasons because you have spring, summer, fall, winter. If you plant a lot of seeds in the spring and you take care of your garden in the summer, and then you reap the harvest in the fall, and you do it all properly, and you do this through enough cycles, and you become seasoned as an entrepreneur in your own business, you'll get to the point where instead of the winter being stressful and you're like using up all this energy and it's not working, the marketing, the advertising isn't working like it was in the spring and summer, and you're freaking out, you realize that's just the seasonality. So if you do this the right way, when the winter comes, you can relax and actually have an amazing, abundant winter. Your nervous system relaxes, you're having fun, you can hang out with your family, and there's plenty of money, everything is okay. But here's one strategy that I learned that's amazing. We do this in the landscaping field. You can actually market heavy, because everything you do in marketing advertising, there's like a 6-week delay before it actually like happens or grows. So you have to do marketing advertising. If you're overwhelmed and crazy busy to the point where like, we can't take on any more, keep marketing and advertising. Do not stop, because sometimes it'll just drop. Something can happen in the economy where everybody's scared, they stop spending money. Something can happen in the seasonality, sometimes around the 4th of July, that whole week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of 4th of July, the phone just stops ringing because everybody's like, oh, they've gotten through what we call the 100 days of hell from April to July. They just want to hang out with their families and barbecue and enjoy everything they've worked for a few weeks. So here's what you do. You pre-sell a bunch of jobs in advance, and you talk and negotiate with the customer, say, hey, I can incentivize you. You could do a discount or whatever you do in your business, and you push those jobs off into the slower months. We could do this in February, or we could do it in January. I'll give you 10% off, or hey, would you? And so not every customer is gonna say yes, but a small percentage will. So you can book 5, 10, 15 jobs in the slower months. So everybody's freaking out in cutthroat season. Now you're just rolling. In the spring in our landscaping business, we've already pre-sold jobs the fall before. So therefore when the spring rolls around and everybody's like undercutting everybody and there's no work and people are terrified, we just roll right into the spring making money because we've already planned that in advance. So if you feel something going on in your business that doesn't, like, why isn't this working? I'm giving everything I can, it's not working. It might not even be you, right? If it could just be a strategy or something you look at from a different angle or consult with somebody and they're like, oh, that's normal. We do this, we just do this. Boom, it's like unlock code, like the master key. And if you're trying and something isn't working, there's a book, 3 Feet from Gold, read that. Okay, almost done. There's a beautiful thing that happens a few years into your business. You've done so much business and so much work. You've shaken so many hands and done so much marketing and advertising. You've built your customer list to, for some weird, crazy reason, it's like a flywheel that takes off. And now, of course, you market and advertise. Your phone and your business line, your contact info data form will be crazy leads coming in. And you're like, what's going on? I needed all these leads in the beginning. It's because now you're an established brand in the marketplace. You have so many referrals. You've built a lead generation referral system. And what happens is the leads are flowing in so much you have no choice but to expand. It's kind of a beautiful thing. So keep working your tail off and having that positive expectancy, because it'll just start taking off. And then you'll be like, whoa, it's like, this is too much work. You'll have to expand. And this is it. The last thing that I want to say is, to whom much is given, much is required. And there's a part of you, the highest version of you. Think of a time in your life when you felt the most alive, when you were crushing it, you were the most excited, and your dream was so real that it was like, this is the real me. You feel unlimited, unstoppable, and you felt like everything was lining up. That part of you is real, and it's inside of you right now. And it's the realest thing ever. I've watched so many of my dreams come true that I've fallen on my face crying, because I kept following my dreams no matter what the negative people said. Because your dream is your dream, and it's in your heart, and God put it in your life for you to believe in and to walk it out. And the very same people, I know you've heard this, that didn't believe in you, or they talked trash, or they said it wouldn't work, those are the same exact people that are going to be like, I believed in you the whole time. It's like, so I want to honor and respect and say I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for letting me speak and present here. I am you. And I just want to say thank you so much, and thank you for this opportunity. So.
Hey, I hope you liked the show. And if you like the Untrapped podcast and you get value from it, can you please take a minute and go over to Spotify and leave it a well-worded positive 5-star review? It helps boost the rankings on Spotify so the show can get to more people. Therefore, these messages can get out to more people and inspire more people, so then they can go out and start their small businesses and crush it and get to the next level. It's a huge deal. All right, I'll see you in the next show.